reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to Free Show Friday. All the glory to God's Son. God bless you, my brother, my sister, till we meet again this day. Welcome to Free Show Friday. Jesus be our only way.
What I want to be when I grow up, I want to be a president.
My life matters.
We always talk about white people killing black people, but we don't talk enough about black on black crime. We kill each other.
My life matters.
Kansas City is different.
Stuff can happen at a moment.
My life matters.
Say if somebody made me mad, I do the first thing that comes to my mind.
My life matters.
We just go and just retaliate now, or just get revenge on anything.
My life matters.
I mean, we've got about 170 homicides already in the city this year.
My life matters.
I saw the news, and an 11-year-old girl was shot and killed, and that's all I saw.
Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Welcome my friends from everywhere. I am Gary, glad you're with me. Pull up a chair. We're gonna look at this free show, a tool to serve your church each day, to help you praise in every language, to lift his name in every place. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Let's lift high the Holy One. My dream is people empowered, across earth his glory shown. Every screen and every session, pointing weary hearts back home. Write your questions in the comments, share this hope with someone new. We're building more than just a playlist, we're building lives in love and truth. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Let's lift high the Holy One. From the north and south, from the east and west, every tongue and tribe, let our Savior be confessed. If this blesses you, pass the blessing on, till the whole world sings of the risen Son. Oh yeah. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. All the glory to God's Son. God bless you, my brother, my sister, till we meet again this day. Welcome to FreeShow Friday.
the preaching minister at our church. One thing I don't want to spend any time thinking about, presentation software.
What I love about FreeShow is in many ways its ease of use.
Hey, I'm Jared Ellis from Fellowship Regional Church in Iowa, Kansas.
My name is Paul Hubart. I'm the lead pastor of Southside Christian Church in Fort Pierce, Florida.
In working with church apps, when FreeShow was brought onto the scene, it absolutely took over for us.
We're a church of roughly about 150 folks. I'm not super technologically advanced, but I'm able to put together displays that are visually engaging and look top-notch really every Sunday. Because of the versatility of FreeShow and really the strength of the program.
With FreeShow, we've been able to grab somebody, and because it's so incredibly user-friendly, we can teach them so quickly how to operate the program.
We had an issue with FreeShow that I was struggling to figure out.
So we sent an email, and immediately somebody gets back to us.
And I was actually able to get in touch with the creator of FreeShow directly.
I just need it to work. And that wasn't happening with the presentation software we were using before. So for us, yeah, FreeShow's incredible.
Would we continue using FreeShow if budget wasn't an issue? Yeah, absolutely we would.
If money was no object and it came down to whether or not we were going to use FreeShow or maybe try to use a more expensive program, there's no way in the world that we would go with something else.
What is good, everybody? I am excited. Welcome. We got some folks joining us today. We got to check in to see who we got on the line with us and how everybody's doing. We got a lot of chat going on, and just saying welcome. We got Atisa John Mark joining in from Nairobi, Kenya. Excited about having the beta for 165. We're going to talk about that beta, and I got more questions that I got to answer. So those who've been using it, give me some feedback and start giving me some ideas. I see that Kay Vaspo's on as well. So Christopher, let me know what you think is going to be important we need to cover, and I'm gonna be relying on you for some tips, man. Let's see. We got Mr. Terry Ray joining us saying good morning. Patrick Juvie. Patrick Juvie? I don't know how to say that, but that is so cool. I love that hand that you put in there, man. Tell us where you're from, Patrick. Let us know. We got M. Smith, Mr. Mark joining in from Kalispell, Montana. Welcome. Kay Vasbo joining in from Norway. We got C. Campbell 382 joining, says he loves the videos, enjoyed the videos, is a newbie. He said the videos have been very helpful, so I'm excited about that. Welcome. And C. Campbell's joining us from California, but he's been a missionary in Guatemala for the past 13 years. So that is awesome news in terms of just sharing the gospel and reaching different folks and serving in so many different capacities. I know that we all serve in different ways, so keep doing it, and hopefully these tips and tricks and community is going to be really beneficial for that to continue. Let's see here. We've got Tisa saying hello to Christopher. Jim Lawyer in. Hey, everyone from Dayton, Ohio. Welcome, Jim. Let's see here. Okay, so C. Campbell's still in Guatemala. Okay, and his name is Chris. All right, cool. I'm going to try to remember that, Chris. I'm going to try to remember it, man. Don't hold me to it, but I'll do my best. So for those who don't know, there was a new release of FreeShow, and it is 1.6.5 beta 1. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to go over some community questions if we got time, and then more importantly, we're going to do our best to address any questions you all may have. All right, so any questions you guys have, make sure to post those in the chat. That's what we're here for, to really address any questions, thoughts, I don't know, concerns or feedback or ideas, all that kind of stuff. That's what we come together to do. And so you guys are all awesome. So let's talk about FreeShow 1.6.5. If you guys can see my screen here, this is beta 1. Okay. And so One of the things I saw out the gate, some of the tweaks, it says you can set stage layout passwords. I never even looked into how to do that. So let's look at that real quick. We're gonna go through these one by one as best we can. So I'm gonna go to the stage. All right, so I can see the stage here. Let's see here. I'm just looking to see if there's an obvious place. Christopher's been doing some work on this. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's the password. So you can literally put a password on it. Now, K Vaspo, tell us what's the benefit that you've seen in terms of that feedback, or maybe it was something that you've had an idea for, but what's the idea behind the password on the actual stage layout? Does that make sense? So is it protecting it from being edited? Is that how that works? Or is it protecting it from being exported? What does that password do? I see where it is over here in the upper right. For those who didn't notice, you can set your stage layouts to come from certain outputs, which is crazy. Like to have a source output. If you got multiple outputs active, you can do that, which I love. But then we got this option to set a password. I'm just curious, what does the password setting do? Protect, stop, start, all that good stuff. Let me know. Let me know. And who's been using it? Okay. And then we got the better multi-item move. Now that one, let's see. We talked about that, I think, last time or on it might have been in the lab. I can't remember if it was in the lab or FreeShow Friday. But I'm gonna select a couple things here. And I'm gonna see if there's a way to make it multi-move. So we got all those items. I don't know how to keep it from selecting. Okay, so let's see here. So K Basketball says for large production areas, so random people can't connect to all the stage layouts. Oh, so it basically protects the stage from being seen on the connections menu. Is that right? So going to the settings up here and going here and activating that stage show, it's password protected is what I'm hearing you say. So let me, oh man, I don't have another device. I gotta get in touch with my wife. Let me see. She's got another tablet. Oh well, no, I could do it on my computer. I'll do it on my computer. All right. So what we're saying is on the stage show, I got this here. So I'm gonna go to it. All right. I got my stage layouts. And all right. I'm gonna pull this over here so you guys can see. All right, let me make sure you guys can see this. So on my screen here, I've got my stage show, and I did that from this screen. All right, so I actually went and selected stage show. I'm the only one connected to it. I'm on the same network. So this connection menu is going to give you access if you're on the same network on all these top 4, 5 different items here: remote, stage control, output, API. The remote clicker is going to be web-based. So that one has a little globe next to it. So it's universal. Okay. But talking about this stage show, I've got this listing of all the different stage shows that I've got. So I've got teaching stage with notes. If I select that, it shows up and it looks like that. And it gives me the time and all that good stuff. But what I'm understanding is if I go back into FreeShow and we go to the stage layout and I go to teaching, let's do a different one. I'll do one that I'm not actively using. Let's do speaker notes. Let's do this one. This one says one speaker notes. If I can select it, there we go. And I can go here and I can hit the little arrow to the right and password protect it and lock that in. Now, when I go back to my screen here, so if I go back to my MacBook for you guys to see what's going on here. All right, let's see. What can we see? It looks like you guys are seeing something different. Let me see. No, you're good. Okay, so you're seeing this. All right. And so if I go there and I click on this web browser, I'm on Chrome. This was the one speaker notes. So this one here, when I select it, it asked me to put in the password. Very nice. Okay. So you can password protect it from being seen on that connection menu, which I can dig it. I can dig it. That is super cool. Very cool. Okay. I love it. I love it. All right, let's talk about this next slide item. We got better multi-item move. Now that one I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to the edit page and see if it's a little bit different here. This needs to be set to shrink to fit. All right. For those who don't know, my whole intro for Free Show Friday and in the lab and all that stuff is all running from Free Show into OBS. And so I literally use that for everything that you see before this show starts. That's all running directly from Free Show through NDI into OBS and onto YouTube. All right. So just as a heads up, so you'll see these slides here. These are all representing what goes on beforehand, but I'm gonna go to another one that I have not used. Let's see. This is in the lab, week 4. I'm gonna see if I got. Do I have a Free Show? Here we go. Free Show Friday. That's 7/6. That's polls and quizzes. I'll do a new project in there. We'll call this one, 731. Lock that in, and let's do a new show. We'll call this multi-items. And I'll do quick lyrics, testing, the ideas of multiple items moving. All right. So I'll say create. So I got that. Then I'm gonna go back into my edit page and I'm going to add in another item. And I'm gonna put this, I'm used to doing up there. So I'm gonna hit here, text box, and I'm gonna say FreeShow Friday test. All right, so in the past, to move an item, I would just select it and then hover over the outside, move it around wherever I need to, right? We had a question come up a week, I think it was a week ago, but it was how do we select and make other multiple items move? So if I select this here, let me see if I can hit this one. I'm holding down shift and I don't know how to make them all move. So let me try that one more time. I'm gonna select on the outside here, hold down shift. Oh, I keep holding down shift and it lets me move them really nice. I like that. Very cool. So if you need to move multiple items, now let me see here. I'm gonna hold down shift and select that one, and then I'm gonna just go to the edge and keep holding shift. Oh, that's clean. That's nice. That's nice. So if you need to do that going forward, 165 beta 1 has a remedy for you. So if you need to move multiple, so let me try that with an additional item. Let's do some media. And let's add in, so I'm going over to the media and I'll just find something. This is a green background. Okay, we'll do that one. So I got a media box. I'll make it be in here as well. And I want to move that. This, let me hold down shift. I keep forgetting to hold down shift. And then, you got to keep holding shift and then you can move them all together. All right, so if you hold shift while you're dragging and moving around, it will allow you to do it. If I let go of shift and try to drag, it's going to just deselect and just have the one that I'm around. Okay, so just a heads up, if you hold the shift button to select and continue to hold it and drag on the border, it would allow you to move multiple items at once without a problem. Very clean too. I love that. All right, somebody brought this up. RTMP, frame per second and bitrate options. What? Now that's crazy. Now I still have not come up with a good way to use the RTMP stuff, but I know that some of you guys are using this, so I want to hear about that. So if you go to outputs in the settings, and let's see, I got an RTMP test here that I've made. You can see I've got the frames per second, and I can pick what I want, 30 from 10 to 60, and then you can set the bit rate to whatever you want. All right, and it's default to kilobits per second, which is exactly how I believe that's how OBS I think does the same thing. So this is basically 4 megs, right? For those who are thinking about it in megabyte or megabits, you can do. I think for me, look, I got to think about this. I don't know what my settings are in. So I stream at 15 megabits per second right now. So I'm streaming at this being 15,000, right? And that allows me to stream it in a better quality in terms of like 4K or 2.5K or something like that, right? So I'm trying to stream it in 4K. Make sure you guys keep me honest. Let me know if there's any blurriness or it doesn't look right to you guys. But on my preview, it doesn't look bad. So keep me posted though if you got any issues with the stream. But you can set that bit rate to whatever you need. So you might say I want it to be 5 megabits or 5,000 kilobits per second. And then you still put in, copy in your stream URL and your stream key from your place that you're streaming to. That is awesome. Very cool. All right. Let's see here. Added cropping for camera item. Whoa. Okay. So now we can crop the camera feed. Now that's serious because I know what, let's go back to the edit page, right? So let's act like I'm going to add a camera feed into here, hit the plus sign, select camera, and then it lets me choose the camera on the right. So I'm going to pick a camera that I want and I'll do this one. So I'll bring that in here and I want to crop. So I got the cropping option there and it says you can crop the top, the right, and the left. So I'm going to crop the left and it brings it in, crop the right. Oh, let me see. The left and the right are doing the same thing. Seems like, let me see. It seems like they're doing the same thing. So that's the right. Yeah, mine's are doing the same thing. Let's see, the bottom, that's doing what I expect. The top. Let me try it a different way. Let me see if it does it. From here, if I do the right, and if I do the left. So the left and the right are both doing the same thing, just as a heads up. And I know if K Vaspo's still on, that's something I'm observing. Let me see the top. The top and the bottom are doing the same thing too, right? They both are pulling from the same spot. So it says try double clicking the item to resize it. Let me see. Double click. Oh, maybe after I do it. Let me see. So I'll do right, and then I'll do left, and then double click. Oh, and now I can actually see the crop marks, which is really helpful. I love that. Okay. And I can move it around. I can do that. Now, is there a way to make it do that? How do I lock that in? I'll just click out. Okay. That is super cool. So is there a way to make it when I click on crop that it does that? It just brings those items that double click look, because that look is exactly what I'm thinking about, right? To just drag that up and fit that in. Oh, that's crazy. And then, oh, could we put a circle option on it to make it like crop the edges, like the like rounded edges? Yeah, that makes it like my Rodecaster video. That was one of the main things that was a challenge for me. Why I ended up getting a Rodecaster video, because it's easy to crop and do things like that. So now I've got this and I can bring this as big as small as I want. Since it's cropped, it keeps that there. It keeps the size of the box the same, which is fine. And then let me see what this does. Oh, that does round it, but I can't get it to show on my crop. Let me see if I go to item, corner radius. Yeah, it does it there. Maybe I can clean up my crop. If I did my crop over here and I click out, click that, will that corner radius impact that video? It does, but it's cropping it from the original size. So I would have to lean over there a little bit. But yeah, I like it still in terms of just being able to crop, period. Like I said, cropping it, that cropped everything because I selected nothing. But if you double click after you've started a crop, then you can have that flexibility to maneuver this wherever you need to. I think that is crazy cool. So now I can pull this to be as big or small as I want to and put it in a position, right? So you can arrange your items. If you have your pastors camera, or yeah, angle sitting there. Let me hit this here. Let me see. I think it is this one that I want to move. Move that up here above it, and then move this one to the side of it. And I'm still using my crop option, which I love. So I'm not showing my whole camera angle because my whole camera angle will come all the way out to here. But now I can align the text. Let's see here, lines, text, alignment to the left, and I can have it right next to it. And I'm just cropped in, and then I can cut back to another angle of me being full screen. So I can clear this out, add in a camera, and do that same camera angle. And I can choose it to be full screen. So I'll just drag it up there and then pull this one to here. And so you could literally go back and forth between both angles and have one angle be the full screen, another angle being the crop version of one of those in terms of showing scriptures or things like that. Thanks for showing me that, Kate Vaspo. Okay. Let's check out what else we got. So we got setting the stage layout password is for that connection menu in the settings. We got the better multi-item move. Just continue to hold down shift after you select it. Select the border and drag it wherever you want. Everything's going to move together. The RTMP, frame per second, and bitrate options, clutch for those who are using the RTMP settings. And then we also have the added cropping for the camera item. Now this one is interesting. So this is the copy ID in context menus when API is enabled. Okay, copy ID in the context. Now I don't know what the context menu is. Let's see what that's about. So we go to the settings and we go to connections. I know the API window here. So if I select that, let's see here. That's a port. Okay, that opens up the website. I'm guessing it's something that just makes it consistent because this is literally what I use to connect to. I use mines for, I was testing out some stuff to do a OSC, but I use it mostly and primarily for companion to be able to see, and I can make buttons back and forth for that. Pretty simple and easy to interact with FreeShow. Oh, I forgot to start recording, you guys, but that's something that I think is pretty cool as well, for me to be able to do that. And so I use it for that. Anybody else using the API, the WebSocket? The WebSocket piece also allows you to connect to OBS, I think, right? Isn't that needed for OBS connection? So if I go down here for the OBS controller, does it make you have WebSockets? If I go back to settings, let me see. I thought it did. In the functions menu, you got the option for OBS Studio. And when I connect, I think I got to go through the WebSockets, but I could be wrong. Who uses the API connections options? Let me know. Then we got some Blackmagic Design color encoding updates where you can set it. I know I was asking about this a while, maybe earlier this week, about an issue I ran into helping the church get set up, and they had Blackmagic Design on Pro Presenter, and they were looking to see what it looks like to switch over to this platform. And in Pro Presenter, they had the option to set their SDR, which I believe stands for Standard Dynamic Range, in their DeckLink Duo. But in the FreeShow / aPlay Pro, which is what I was having them set up, aPlay Pro is a fork or a port from FreeShow. Setting that up, it would not give us that option. And so the coloring was a little bit more saturated than it was in Pro Presenter. And so it looks different. And they were able to toggle back between the two. And it was something that would be nice to have. And so I don't have a way to test that just because I don't have a Blackmagic Design connector here, which is, well, no, I never had one. I had a one of those streaming devices, the little box that streams, I think. Like there was like a capture card. That was all I had before. Okay, let's see here. Icons, item updates. Icons, item. All right, so let's talk about this. So in the edit page, there's the option to hit the plus sign and add an icon. And so this has been updated somehow. And K Vaspo, what's the update with the icons item? This one's blank. Let's see this one. Is it just more of them added? I wonder. Oh, let me see. Let me show my right screen so you guys can see it. Sorry. So if you hit the plus sign here, there's an option that says icon, and you can click any of these. I'm gonna click the little sunshine here. Very cool, pretty fancy. It reminds me of the what was it in Microsoft Word and all this stuff. It's not Clippy. I remember. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you guys still use Windows, which is great. But what are these called in Windows? I forget. I don't know what they call them, but like just basically the icons, right? I love that they're there. I think they're really cool. When it comes down to it for us, you could add them in, and it looks like there's just a bigger list. That's what it seems like to me. It's just more of them, but I could be wrong. Let me see if hit the little edit. Doesn't let me do anything special. I wonder, is there a way to change the color of the, oh, you can change the color of your icons. Come on. I never even looked at that. But you can change the color of it. Come on. Okay, rearrange the order. Also added a few more, including an empty icon. So you can use that instead of an empty text box if you want a background without text. If you want a background without text, that is something that's crazy because I don't know if you guys have done it before, but this is an item, right? I've added that in there. So it's a blank green background. I'll drag this on top. But if you want to get a blank, space background or something like that, and you did a text box, it would always say, let me just show you. So if we do a blank text box, it always says type something. And this is, so I'm trying to think where I was doing this and I saw it on something. I don't know if it's on some of the default. I don't think it's on any of the default templates, but that's there. But what we've got now is the option to just add. And so even if you change the color, so you say, I want to use this and I want to change the item background color of this. I want to make it, let's do blue, right? It still always says type something. But now if you want to have a blank box, you can just go to icon and go to blank. And it doesn't say type something. It has the color and you can make that color be what you want. And right now the color is set to 50% opacity, but I can make it be solid, right? So you can change that in that color menu. And now it's just a big blank box. It's not an item, right? I didn't have to port it in. I can round the edges of it. You can, yeah, that's pretty slick. I like that quite a bit in terms of the flexibility that it gives you. So kudos, Christopher. I appreciate that. That's really sweet. I don't know if you came up with that or somebody suggested it, but that's a great idea to have that be a way to get those built in. I love that. Without it saying type something. Let's see here. Small tweaks. Okay. Cloud fixes. The cloud fixes. I know I've been a proponent of some updates and kind of highlighting some of the issues I've been running into when I help people set up their cloud sync. What I was running into is that anybody that had cloud sync set up, I believe before 163 or before, or no, yeah, you had it set up before 163, 1.6.3 that is. It worked fine no matter what after, in terms of 163, 164, it was working just fine. But if you set it up cloud sync at 164, what ended up happening, it seemed, was that it would not allow it to actually read or to set up or establish your cloud backup. And so this new fix should have that updated and able to be working. So that's one of the fixes I know I've submitted some feedback about. And then fixed NDI delay issue. Now that one is interesting. I'm curious about that. I've never noticed the NDI delay issue on my end. Anybody run into that or seen that before, the NDI delay? Let me see. I'm trying to think about, for me, what that issue, if I could recreate something like that, because I'm using OBS and I use NDI for my stuff, but I didn't pay attention to what the delay looked like between, because all my stuff is hardwired. So I got my computer hardwired. And basically it was just it was on the same computer, so I didn't even have to go anywhere else. But yeah, let me know if you guys have tested it out and seen it working well. Fixed item randomly repositioned. Okay. I did see that. And I don't even know how it was happening. I submitted a ticket on how I saw it and how I could easily recreate it. when I was in my stage display is when I noticed it the most, I think. And I was, let's see, this is testing. Let's see. I think it was one of these. I don't see which one it was. This is work window. For me, it was, if I reposition something here, move that, and then I click on the outside of that, something would jump. Oh, sorry. I'm in my my stage display, and what would happen is if I reposition this or move this out to be a little bit wider, and I clicked on this, this would jump and kind of jump right on top of where this one was and kind of match that same size, which was weird. And it was just a random thing, right? So thank you, K Vaspo, for fixing that. If I go here, let me see. This one might be the one I was testing on. So if I move that and then select here, it would kind of jump. So, but that's fixed, which is great. Let's see here. Fixed incorrect groups sometimes. Okay. Fixed scripture verse line breaks not preserved. And then fixed profile selector spacing. All right. Now this one, I remember talking or submitting something for that. So profiles, who uses them in the chat? Let me know. Do you use profiles? So if I go here, there's this really cool option. So I'm gonna just duplicate and make a bunch of these. So I'm gonna say duplicate, and I'm gonna duplicate this one, and I'll duplicate this one again. So I got two. They both say the same thing, 2, 2. Okay, let me see. I'll change this to be 3. If you had like, I was working with a church that needed like 13 profiles. It was crazy. Oh. And so this defaults and gives you the name, which is great. Test 5. I'll do another one. I'm gonna call this one elementary. Maybe you got your youth team working on it. I'll do another one. I'm gonna call this one students. This could be like your middle school, your high school students. And then you have another profile for second service. I don't know how many I got, but it's a lot of them. All right, let's see. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Admin kind of counts as one, but I'll do one more just for the fun of it. All right. So we'll call this one preschool. And I'll do one more for events. Maybe you have a multi-purpose space. All right. So what would happen is when you would close the program, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna just do a Command S or Control S on Windows to save this. When I go back out and I close the program and I open it up, you should see your profiles listed there. So I'm gonna open up FreeShow. And now what'll happen is it'll just stack them up for you. In the past, it would make everything one line. They would just kind of be out on the edge and kind of run it off. But now they're just stacked up so you can see every profile. So if you're coming in and you're a volunteer for the preschool, you can just select your profile and you can adjust what that profile has limitations for. So you might limit the access to just be able to view your show categories, or you might limit the access to just be able to not even see the actions or the functions, I should say, right? So you can limit that. So I'm gonna go back into admin, put in my password. So that's a really big deal for some churches. Let me make this to be on the end. All right, very cool fix. And then some other small fixes. And we got that there. So that's 165. It's 1.6.5 beta 1. Super exciting stuff. I think it's just a good progression of the program getting better and better. Now, you guys have been watching, I guess, but nobody's asking any questions. What are some questions you guys are running into? Talk to me about it. In the meantime, I'm going to go here. I got some questions that have come up. Let's see here. This is, okay. This is from a day ago. All right. So I'm going to go down to, okay, 8 days ago. I think we did this one already. 7 days ago. We talked about that one. I remember that. And then 6 days ago. So this is Anthony Ammoniai 4738 says, hey, thanks for the tutorials. I have a quick question. Is it possible to send audio via NDI from FreeShow on one computer to OBS on another computer? And how can I do it? This is a definite yes, you can, right? Yes, you definitely can. And we've talked about this time and time again in the way that the program works, in the way that you can, let's see here. Let me close this out. It's kind of funny there, but it allows you to send NDI and the audio is now default as a part of the NDI process or NDI setup. And let's see, we're at 120. And I'll just say answer this in 120. Not that one, I'll do it here. Thirty-one 26 at the 1 hour 20-minute mark. All right. And so when we talk about how to get audio from NDI, if I go back into FreeShow now, you go to your settings, you would go to outputs. And I'm going to, let's get rid of something here. So live stream 2. I don't think that's active. I don't think I have anything active, right? Yeah, none of that's active. Perfect. So oh, there's the ID. Oh, snap. Copy ID. What does the copy ID do? Oh, wait. So we had a copy ID in context menus when API is enabled. That's interesting. So I see the copy ID down there and it says in context menus. So if I go here, can I right click on this too? No. What other context is there? Files, profiles, nothing there. Let's see here. What does that copy ID do? I see it in the, let's see, can I copy this? Yep, you can copy your styles. You can copy outputs. General. I don't think there's anything to copy here. Interesting. So you can copy the ID for API stuff. And I guess the question is, would you use that in Companion? What do those IDs do? Now I'm curious of if I copy it, what it's going to look like. Let me see. I'm going to copy this ID. I'm just going to paste it somewhere. This is how my mind works, you guys. Let's see here. I'll open up something here, generic. All right. Oh, nice. Okay. So if I go to stay, so it just gives you like a code. If I right click on this, does it give me an option to do the same? Yep, you can copy the ID there. That's pretty slick. I can see some benefit to that, right? When you're trying to, I never have needed to do it except when I was trying to do some stuff in Companion before you had the options for the actions. I remember doing that. So I was going here trying to copy my actions that I had. And so if I right click on this, you can copy the ID for that particular action now. I get it. I get it. For variables, probably the same. Let me see, right click on that. There's the option to copy ID. I love that. Now that's pretty slick. I don't know that'll be here. Let's see. Yep, you could do it on the FreeShow Friday poll. Let me see. Copy that. I say on the poll, on the interactions. That's pretty slick. That makes a lot of sense now. Okay. And so that ID is just the code or the ID for that particular facet of the program. Hey, we got Brian Matua Lumumba joining us from Kenya. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. Let us know if you got any questions. And also for Chris, if you got any questions while you're there in Guatemala, let us know if there's anything that comes up that I know you mentioned you're a newbie at this, so keep me posted on things that you may run into. Doesn't have to be big or great. It could be small, right? And so that question, though, that we had here about NDI coming in. So I started out talking about that, going to the settings, you go to outputs, and then you would create a new output, and you could say normal or stage. I'm going to say normal, and it's going to ask you to pick a style. or you can skip that, but I'm going to say default. And then you dictate if it's going to be a local, or I'm going to call it physical, but that's a local output or a network output. You can pick any combination of one from the top and one from the bottom, or you can pick just one from the top only or one from the bottom only. So I'll select NDI here and just say confirm. When I do that, the audio that's coming out of the program, in terms of from that output, if I'm playing a video, the audio for that video is going to automatically carry over to whatever I do in other programs. So if I send that in, or if I open up that NDI feed in OBS, the audio comes with it. Okay. And so that's something to keep in mind. All right. Let's see here. So C. Campbell says, thanks. This is a little bit complicated for me. A lot of unknown language for me. Oh, no worries. No worries, Chris. So when it comes to using the program, I'll do a quick breakdown of some simplicity of it. But that answers that question. It actually, the NDI carries the audio with it without a problem. So let's go back up. So quick overview of FreeShow, and everybody else in the community, give Chris some pointers on things that are important for you to help you simplify this program. But the main thing to understand is you got multiple parts of the program in terms of the way it's laid out. If you've ever used ProPresenter, it's going to be probably a lot simpler to understand. But if you've never used ProPresenter, like myself, I've come from OpenLP. And so OpenLP for me was basic and useful and worked really well and very solid until I broke it. And so it didn't keep working for me the way I needed it to. So I had to find a new program, and I found this. Completely confused. I was completely confused when I first started using FreeShow, and it's been almost not a little over a year and a half now. But homepage is kind of like the show page up here at the top. Okay, you click that, it takes you to this main page. If you've had an active show showing up, it'll show up here in the middle. I like to call this my plate. I like to call everything down here at the bottom my buffet. I call this the buffet of stuff down here. Over here on the left, this is like your containers in terms of if you want to actually make folders or you want to make projects. These are containers. They hold items from your show library down here. We also have templates that you can make on your own, or they can be completely empty. You may not have any templates, but that's totally up to you. And that's really helpful if you use the same layout of a service every week, which a lot of churches do. They use the same layout for their service. They just interject different parts to it. Okay. And so the way the program works is if I go to FreeShow Friday here, I'll open up this folder. I've already made a show called multi-items. I'm going to make a new show in there. So I can hit this little plus sign and I can say show. It brings me to my show library. For most church services or meetings, even if you use this for production of podcasts, you're going to have multiple shows as a part of your one production or your one service. And so you can drag those in. So I can say, oh, I want to add in a song. So I can go to my songs category down here in my shows library, and I'm going to bring in Mighty God, okay, for my service called 731, okay, July 31st. Now, if I want to, I can make parts to that same service. So I can say, I'm going to break this up into parts. And I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and make a new section here. I'm going to call this next part, we'll call it worship. So I'll put Mighty God inside of that. And so now I've got my organization. And so this program allows you to build your own framework and manage it yourself. OpenLP had the framework pre-built for me. And that was the biggest challenge I had with transitioning into something like this, is that I didn't realize I had to make my own framework, my own structure, my own limits or boundaries, right? And so one of the things I came out with earlier this year, I believe it's called the not the quick start, but the media system. So when I'll show you guys on my opening, let me see what I call it. Free show begins shortly. So the media systems from my website, you can download those. They're not free, but they allow you to get started quickly by having a preset framework for you to get started using the program. Unless you get started using it, it's called Sunday Launch. So you can actually start using it by this Sunday. So if you download that particular one of those, I got 3 different options for it. If you download any one of those, you can start using FreeShow pretty much immediately. And so that's what it's designed to do for those who are coming from a program that's not ProPresenter. This stuff can be very confusing, which I completely get. So hopefully that helps a little bit with you guys understanding that. But if I go here to this, I can add more shows to it. I can lay out my whole service. So maybe I'll have another section here, hit the little plus sign, another section called teaching, or sometimes it'll just be called sermon, right? And inside there, you might add some scriptures. So I can go up here to scriptures, or down, I should say. This is the buffet. So everything in here you can add to your plate up in this section here. So I'm gonna go from the Amplified Bible. I've got some Bibles there. I'm gonna go to Joshua chapter 1, and I'm gonna go all the way down to verse, we'll go to 9. We'll just say that. I've got all those verses selected. It's a lot of stuff over here, right? But in my settings on the bottom right, I've actually set it up to where it's gonna show one verse per line. And you dictate that on your own. I think it defaults to 2 or 3. But since I've got that set, I can right click on this and this whole set of stuff, and I can say convert to a show. And it automatically goes in to that framework or that section that I just made. And it's one verse per slide. Okay. And that's something that's really cool. Your audience is going to see this. I don't have a background set to it, so it's just completely blank. But if it was transparent, you'll see that there's like a transparent or opaque box behind it as well. All right. Let's see here. We got some thoughts. K Vaspo says, working on a new audio routing system to route any input to any output, but it requires a lot of changes. Oh boy, that's getting serious, K Vaspo. So if you guys don't know, K Vaspo is the developer for FreeShow. All the way from Norway. I say all the way from Norway from me, but from some of you guys, he's super close. But he is the genius behind this program. So thank you so much, K Vaspo. I think that's going to pay dividends for those who use it in the long run, but it does, like you said, it adds a lot of changes, potentially what Chris is running into. It makes it feel a little bit, maybe a little bit more complicated. So we got to continue to grow this community to help people understand how to simplify this. And so if you have questions about how to use it simply, in the lab on Mondays is another show that I do. This week, we're going to be talking about how to simplify your live stream. This past Monday this week, you can look at that show. I did simplify your service. And Chris, that would be a really cool, I guess, live stream or video for you to check out from my live stream or on my shows or whatnot. Okay, let's see here. He says, right now, I'm using it mostly like PowerPoint for now. Makes a lot of sense. I use the remote for people helping with the slides. I love that. And then he says, our church in Guatemala is using OpenLP. Hey, I know the feeling. I know that. And they haven't been able to output the lyrics on the live stream. Not sure why, but I see you can in FreeShow. Yeah, for sure. With OpenLP, there was a lot of limitations with it, but it was just already a framework built out. And so the best way to get your lyrics to show up is like that first question we just talked about with the NDI. And so I can send this out now in NDI as I have this output active. I can activate this here, or I can go into let's see here. This is showing my right screen. I can go into, let's see if I can show you guys my screen without it looking crazy. We'll go studio mode. All right, so I can go into, so this is my left screen is what I'm showing. Okay, that's both saying left screen. Okay, so let's do FreeShow. I think I got one called live stream. I'm just looking to see if okay, so let's do this live stream. All right. So if I want to add in that output that I just set up in FreeShow, okay, I can hit this little plus sign and it's an NDI. So I can go to NDI source and I'm going to call this one FreeShow Friday NDI test. And I'll say, okay. It pops up with a blank screen for me to pick the source. So I hit the source drop down and there it is, FreeShow NDI, NDI1. When I click that, you're going to see that verse and it's transparent. Okay. It defaults to being transparent. And I'll say, okay. So now you'll see that verse shows up right over the top. I can make that layout to be a little bit different if I wanted to. So if we go back over to my right screen, you guys can see that on my right screen here, you'll have, let's see, if I go to settings, and I go to the outputs for this NDI, it's set to be transparent by default, but that style is set to be just a generic one, but maybe I want it to be this one, right? Oh no, I like this one. This is one of my favorites, right? So I'll do that one. So now that output is going to look like that. So if we go back to my MacBook and we go back into that live stream feed, check out what happens. Now it looks like this, okay? Lower thirds, and it's going to have, it's going to have the verse reference and the actual scripture itself and the Bible verse down here because I made a style. So in FreeShow, the main thing to think about is you want to understand you are not just making the presentation, you also make the framework. You get to design the framework yourself to be custom to whatever you want it to be. So you get to pick the colors, you get to pick how big you want this box to be, you get to pick what font you want these words to be and all that kind of stuff. And so that's where it becomes a challenge if you're just jumping into it from something that was so concluded for you, right? Like OpenLP is kind of pre-made for you, ready to go. All right, so let's see here. Oli Deep Alalade says, hi, thanks for what you do. FreeShow has really been serving us well. We have been using it since last year. Wow. They said, just a question. When we updated to version 1.6.4, the function we created for live stream lower third and announcement slides stopped working, and we haven't been successful in resolving it. Okay. And so when they talk about the function they made, let's go back to my screen here. We'll go back to show. So in the functions menu on the bottom right in this drawer, when I select that, you have this option for actions. And so what I understand they did is they made an action for live stream lower third and announcement slides. Excuse me. Not sure what the lower thirds function or action did. I'm guessing it just switched the style. And so what you can do is, let's go ahead. Let me see if I got any that have to do with style. This live stream pictures. I don't think I have anything special. Stage changes? No, it would be just a general layout. I don't have a layout. Let's do style. I'm gonna do a search for style. All right, so I got in the lab style. I got new training style. And these are all just different. So this is a countdown. The default style that I made, change live style back to live, change style for live to default, right? So what you can do is right click on any of those, that action that you've made, and just select edit and just review what it says it needs to do and verify that your start action is, in this case, I got 3 different parts of this, but it says change the output style. Hit that little drop down and verify. So I got output style is to live stream. Okay, that's the output. And it says, okay, what's the style you want to make it? I get that drop down and it shows me a list of all my styles. Double check and make sure you can just reset that if you need to. Oladipo Elalade. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. I might be messing that all up, but check those drop downs to see if you have the proper style set the way you want to. And you should be able to reset it. Now, I'm not sure what caused it to change. That might be just a part of that update that it may need to get looked into. I'm not sure what caused it, but you can always just go back and just reset it. Okay. And I say reset by just right clicking on it, go to the edit, and then you'll be able to see your action and you'll see, okay, I got this output is the one I want. Or maybe you say, I want to set all my outputs to something, or I want to set a specific one. Just go in there and reset it and pick the exact setup that you want. And the way we did that, we just went into our functions, we select actions, and then just right clicked on the one that I was looking for and just go to edit there. Okay. Chris says, I'm a worship leader, but sometimes I lead in places out of the church and need to have lyrics. So I'm not a media guy normally, but I like to learn. I love that. So sometimes lead in places out of the church and need to have lyrics. So how do you do that? How do you do your lyrics in terms of when you say out of the church? So you go to another church or another space, lead in places out of the church. So do you use FreeShow for those times and those spaces, Chris? Let us know how that looks in terms of what you're doing there in Guatemala, or maybe you're doing it back home in California, what that looks like and what that means for you. Because FreeShow is really cool at giving you the ability to make your lyrics really easily. Let's see, like at a school or orphanage. I got you. And so how do you show it? Do you show it from do you actually go there and set up your computer so you can see your lyrics, or how does that work for you? And need to have lyrics with a computer and a projector. I love it. Okay. Yeah, that's a great setup. If you already got that equipment, FreeShow is great because it's completely free. You can even install it on the computers at the school if they have them, or and any other place that they may have, and you can bring your whole backup. So you can back up your whole thing. You can go to settings here and go to your files. And you can say backup everything, and it'll make a backup for you. You'll see down on the bottom right, I got my backup, and what it does, let's see here, it'll bring you to your it'll bring you to your page where your backups are. So there's my 731 backup I just made, and this is 1.3 megs. It backed up everything in FreeShow, and it's only 1.3 megs. Okay, so super small. And you can do that and take that with you on a thumb drive or something, right? Let's see here. Let's go to, we got any other questions here? Okay, 5 days ago, AD Joe Bednego says 48, no, Bednego 4823 says, great job down with the tutorials. I have been watching your tutorials on FreeShow. I have a slight challenge with the latest update. When I tried to cut a text from my slide and the text didn't cut, but when I paste the text, it tried to cut it. When I paste the text I tried to cut, it did paste, but the text still remains in the previous slide. How do I fix that? Uh, I told him I noticed that too. So when you do a copy and paste out of FreeShow, it does not or cut and paste, I should say. It doesn't delete that current thing you're cutting, but it does save it to your clipboard so you can paste it. Okay. I would just say delete the original. I think it's made to be non-destructive, but Kay Vaspo can speak to that. And let's go to the edit page to test out what that looks like. So if I go to another show, let's go back here and I go to edit. If I go here and I say, hey, I want to copy this, I can select it and I can do, oh, nope, that's updated now too. So if you do Command X and you go somewhere else to paste it, it does go away. That's updated in 165 beta because they were talking about they were using, they didn't say which version they got. I'll just say this has been resolved in 1.6.5 B1. I'll spell it out, beta 1. So that is no longer the case. Interesting. That's good stuff. Okay. Chris says, what do you know about adding the songs with chords? How do the chords appear? And are they on a second output like the stage screen or something like that? That's a great question, Chris. With me not being musical, I speak nothing about musical with any musical definite musical authority. Let me put it that way. But when it comes to the technology, I can definitely show you what you need to know. All right. So let's go to a song. First of all, we got Mighty God. We'll do Mighty God. All right. So I got Mighty God here and I can go to edit it. And in the latest version, so 164 and 165, you're going to have on your edit page, the slide tab, you're going to have the chords tab, and you're going to have the text edit tab. All right. They all serve a unique function. The slides are kind of like giving you a preview of what the layout is going to look like on the left. I like to look at that. Like it reminds me of like a PowerPoint setup, like what you talked about you do. And then you can actually adjust the text boxes and all that kind of stuff in here as well in terms of the spacing and adding additional items and things and adjusting the layout and the shadows and all that stuff, right? So this is really like I call it maybe the polish end of it, right? But the chords, it takes away that menu over here, but it adds this menu here and it highlights you can highlight any letter you want. So I can select N and I say, I want to put a C, I think that's sharp. Is that what that means? Select this chord. So now that's there, okay? And I'll put another one here. This will be F. Like I said, don't critique my lack of musical know-how because I don't have any. But you add in your chords, you can add them manually, right? And then if you go back to your slide, so this is on, what slide am I on? Okay, I'm in slide 3. This is a verse by Heather Covington. That's what came in as. It doesn't show anything. I can set it to show up on my main display with my background and everything. So I can go to chords here and turn it on. And you will see it shows up in the preview there. They're orange because I've got it set to be orange. I can change the size. I can set these to be 100. And you'll see how much bigger it looks in the preview on the left there. All right. It's not going to show up here, but you'll see it in the preview there. This is going to show to the audience. So if I go to the show, you'll see that's going to show up just like that. That's not typically how you do it. Like I said, but if you only have one projector and one computer, you might need that. Your audience, I don't know how they'll respond to that, but typically you'll see this on a stage display. So if I go back to edit and I just click on the chords again, let's see, I'm gonna click that and hit refresh, the little icon there, and it'll turn it off on the main display, but I can go to my stage display and I've got some already pre-made that I've made here. And I can go to, I think I got one for worship, maybe at the bottom. Here we go. So worship. So my worship layout, and this is something else that's a part of that. Remember I told you I have the media systems already pre-made. I've got one that's just called the confidence system. And it's designed to give you the blueprint of the basics, service layout, but it also includes a bunch of stage layouts. And this is one of those stage layouts or confidence monitor layouts. And you'll see that C here, the C sharp. And I think I put maybe I made a C sharp, but I thought I made one be an F, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not musical, so I'm not going to act like I know exactly how that works. But in this, I've got those chords on here. I've changed the color and the size, and I've changed the vertical offset. So you've got a lot of customization to dictate how you want that to work and how you want that to look. But yes, so you can set that to be a part of your stage layout. All right. And then you would, show that on a separate projector, separate screen. Let's see here. You know about the song. Okay, so Chris says, I think you can add the song with chords when you add from online sources. Yes, that's going to be the next point. So if I go to show and I do a search for a show, I'm going to go to my songs category just because I like to keep everything organized that way. So I got my songs. I can go to the bottom right, select new show. And let's think of a song. Good Father. I can do a web search for that. And here's Chris Tomlin, Good Father from source Genius. But anything that usually says Ultimate Guitar is going to have the chords built into it. All right. So if you see the Ultimate Guitar source, usually it has the actual chords in it. So I'll just pick this first one, and you'll see it's got chords in there. Stuff that does not make any sense to me, but it's got G and then a G sus 4 times 2. We got the G and the G sus 4 and a G again, and you'll see that there. Now, that makes a lot of sense to Chris and some of you guys that have a worship leader background. I got mine set to default to be 2 lines per slide by hitting that little icon up there. You can make this be 1 line if you want to, but those chords are there, all right? Now, when I say create, it still looks like there's nothing there, okay? Nothing showing up special, but if I go to my stage layout, look at all those chords there. So they'll show up there for you, but maybe they're the wrong chord, maybe. I don't know what the word is for it, but if I go to edit, I can go to my chords page or tab, right? And you can actually transpose up or down to get to the right something. So if I say I'm gonna transpose this down, now everything's a GB. That's me. I'm Gary B. And if I go to this line, all that changed. The whole show changed to be down. If I go up, everything goes to C, maybe. Let's see. G there on that one. If I go up here, that's G sharp. And that's C sharp and all so forth and so on. Let's see here. Mr. Terry says, how do you send your primary outputs? Okay, so he's got another question. Okay, so Chris is saying right key is the terminology. Okay, key. Got you. Thank you. So it's changing the key when you transpose. Perfect. And you'll see all those that are on there here. So I can select that, I guess. Oh, so I can select individuals. Let's see. I can transpose. I think it changed everything. I don't know what is going on, but you can see all the keys in there and you can change them from the chords tab at the top. So yes, you can definitely bring those in. The Ultimate Guitar source is a good place to start if you want to get those pre-made or built into your web search. So Mr. Terry Ray has a question. He says, how do you send your primary output to OBS via NDI? This is more difficult for me in 165. All right, so let's talk about that. How do I send my primary out? So in 165 or 164 even, if your primary does not have OBS or NDI already active, you will need to make a change. All right. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Chris. So chords is right. Oh, right key is the terminology. And then chords is right, when you change them all, is the changing the it all is changed when you change them all, is the changing the key or transposing the key? Uh when you change them all. Let me know if that's a question, Chris, or if that's a update for me, like for clarity. Just let me know if you're asking me a question, because it might be a word missing, and like I said, I'm already not musically challenged, so let me know. Rewrite that one for me, just so I can keep up with you. All right, if it is a question. All right, so Mr. Terry says, how do we do this in 165 with our output, our primary output? So my primary output is here. I got an NDI output there. If I go to my settings and I go to outputs, I've got my primary on, and I've actually got it set to where it's going to show my NDI. But if I didn't have it doing that from jump, the way that FreeShow works now is you would need to make a separate one. So you can do that. You can make a separate one just as easily, just like I made this separate one here. And then I can dictate what the style is for it completely separate, which I think is pretty cool. All right. So you would basically just make a separate one, Mr. Terry Ray. And so for that, you can either make a new one. So you can make a new one that it has both. If you want it to be active, so you can say, I want this to be my default. I want to have NDI or a main HDMI output and an NDI. You can do both of those. And you might just have to make a new primary output, is what I'm saying, basically, if you want it to be on one output. And then just say confirm. Excuse me. I'm going to call this Terry output for now. This is going to be important for what it does, because, it says, let me see if I can add a T in there. Yep. Boom. All right. So in NDI, it's going to be read as Terry output. FreeShow NDI, Terry output. I can edit this and make it just say Terry output if I wanted to. And I can also dictate if I want it to be transparent. It left transparent off because it's also tied to a physical screen. And so that's a really cool feature, because earlier when I turned on NDI on its own as a separate output, it made it be on as transparent, because it's looking at it as this is a non-physical, non-local output. It's going to go straight to OBS or something like that. So it's likely going to be over the top of a video, which is very true. But if you have it set to, let me go to my Terry output again. It's my third output. When I go there now, because it's set to default, it's going to be no transparency, not in any special groups. I can change the frames per second if I need to. But if I go to my show now and we do this one, you'll notice it doesn't have any background selected, because Chris Tomlin didn't have a background selected for Good Good Father. But I did have a background selected for this output from my previous show that I did for Mighty God, right? So if I go to Mighty God here and I select one of those, all of them now have the same output. And then because Good Good Father does not have an output to it, it's just blank, it's going to just carry over. So the output screen will just keep the same output if you don't change it. All right. That's why that looked different. Now it looks exactly the same. All right. Notice that my NDI, my base NDI, the NDI only is lower thirds by default. Here, you'll see it down there as well. And I can change that. So if I go back into NDI and go to those settings, so if I say, let me look at this, not here, sorry, go to settings here, and go to the outputs, and I select NDI 1. That style is set to textured, but it shows up like this when it's not a scripture. Okay, when it's not a scripture, there's no box with that little pink and blue gradient. Okay, when it is a scripture, I got it set to do that. Okay, so that's why it looks a little bit different, but because you can edit your style on the left here, you can go to styles and you can say, hey, I want my, so live training 2, I got lower third transparent blue as my style. Let me see what that looks like. So LT transparent blue is the one I've got set up right now. These are in alphabetical order. Let's see. Lower third transparent. I got a bunch of stuff in here. Let's see it. Okay, lower third presentation. Okay, here we go. So it looks like that. So it's got a little bit of a lower third transparent with a blue something on it. All right, and that's cool. So I don't see the blue on there. And this one, let me make sure. I got this set to textured actually. So that's the texture. So it's just lower third orange grunge, but it's also coming from the songs. So my songs profile, songs category, actually it doesn't have a setting. It doesn't have anything set to it. I think I got a different default set up here. So it says override with lower thirds orange grunge lyrics. And that's what it's doing. All right. And so all that to say, when I go back into here, I got primary output here, India output here, and then Terry output down here. When I go into OBS, which is here, and I want to show that live stream, right? So I got the live stream showing up here, and I want to show it to see Terry's live stream, right? Which is going to just be the default setup. Let's look at my FreeShow Friday India. I made an NID test. That's okay. I can right click on that and I can change the properties by just right clicking select properties. And then I can pick, let's see here, India, FreeShow India output. It didn't get to update to Terry's. If I restart FreeShow and open it back up, it'll say Terry output, or if I restart OBS, but this is what Terry's output was. It just says output 1 by default because I changed that name, but it did default to say output 1. Okay. And I can say, okay. And now I'm seeing my primary output in OBS through NDI, which is just a wireless interface, right? Network device interface is what it stands for. So it's sending the signal wirelessly on my computer from one program to another. All right, let's see here. All right, Chris says, sorry, to clarify, the individual letter is called a chord, got you, when referring to the guitar in there. When you select or transpose like you showed, then it changed all the chords. So it is changing the key. Nice. Thank you. I figured you was trying to help me understand something and I just don't have enough understanding of it. So that makes sense. Thank you for that clarity, Chris. What are some other questions you guys have? These are great questions. Mr. Terry Ray, I see you said that makes sense. Like I said, in the past, before 164 of Free Show, outputs were managed differently. But Christopher made a drastic change to update that flow to be more user-friendly for new users, especially. And so for us existing users, it may have had an impact, but you want to make sure you understand what that looks like because it is a lot simpler to manage. I mean, I love it now that it's there, but I was used to it another way, right? And this is a part of the journey of technology is that when we get set in our ways of what we want, and things change, we usually adapt, right? When the iPhone comes out with a new update or Android comes out with a new update or your computer comes out with a new update, you adjust to it. You learn it, say, okay, that's what it does now. Got it. That's what we're doing here. And this is not just for us, this is for the church. This is for the body of Christ. So it's a really good update to have that be simpler to use and understand for everybody. And those who got some experience using it, it shouldn't be that hard of an update, hard of a challenge to overcome, right? So I can easily stop these as well. So I can disable these outputs like I'm doing here. So I can just have one active output. All right. Let's see here. Thanks for that clarity again, Chris. I'm gonna go back and see if we got any other questions here. Claude, oh man, Claude from Canada has some questions. He said, love the presentation. He was talking about in the lab. This is the simplified service presentation I did on Monday. Like I said, Chris, I think you'll like that one as well. To kind of help you add your framework is what that's designed to do. It's kind of help you understand and wrap your mind around how to get started with this free show program, right? But he said it really helped open my mind to new possibilities since templates can be applied at multiple levels, slide, category, output, programming menu, and more, okay? Could you explain what happens when 2 or 3 templates are applied at once in different places? Which one takes priority? And I just told him, hey, friend, I believe the style setting takes precedence and then the category template. Now, for some of you guys that are new to this, this may sound like gibberish, but let's talk about this and let's test it out, okay? So in Free Show, there's this option in here at the bottom in the middle called templates. Templates are super powerful, okay? Super, super powerful because what they allow you to do is they allow you to navigate the program and have a set way that everything is supposed to look. I believe in ProPresenter, they call them looks. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me on that. Is it called a look in ProPresenter? But in with this, you can have templates, right? So maybe I want my layout for this particular song to have the slide group in the corner and then something else, and then this text here. If I select this template, it changes the whole song. So you'll see there, now it says, when I select the slide, my computer's slowing down because I got everything going on in terms of all these outputs and stuff, but it'll show up and there's the updated version of it. So you'll see that everything's in the green box. It says verse 1, says worship as the section that we're in, and it's got a timer there to show whatever the time is I have set aside for that, because I made a template that does that. But I say, hey, I don't need all that. I just want it to be big in the middle, big and bold. I can select this template and now it updates the whole layout. It doesn't show the audience. This is what your audience sees, right? So until I click on one of my slides or hit refresh right here in the middle, you won't see that change. But now I've refreshed and now I see it, it looks big. So templates allow you to easily jump or change the look of a slide, in this case, an entire show at once. And all I'm doing is going to the bottom where the templates are and just clicking on any one that I want. And you can make your templates look however you want to. The program itself comes with a bunch of default templates. You'll see the little shield there, meaning it's a default template. So this is a lower third with color in it. So I can select that one. And there, now everything looks like that, lower third with the color in it, all right? With a little black box around it and a gradient color. Really cool setup, really cool layout. Now you might be saying, how come it's black on here, Gary, and not black here? Remember I told you in FreeShow, since I've got this set as a real output in terms of a physical HDMI, wherever it's not anything yet, it's gonna be black. That's for this actual show. But the output itself still has a background to it. Until I clear the background here, this background will stay there, all right? Or until another show comes up that has a different background, it'll change. But I can hit clear background and now it'll show that black, okay? I just took away the background from the output because this actual show doesn't have a background tied to it. You can add a background to your show by just dragging a background item from the media onto your first slide, and it'll apply to all the slides, okay? And so templates are cool. But Claude's question was, if I set a template here, okay, so I got this one to be there. But if I go to the settings and this is primary, it's set to default, okay? That default just shows whatever you got it set to. So if I go back to my styles here and I go to default, you'll see that it doesn't have, well, let's see, default, let me click it. It doesn't have any overrides. So it's not changing the way the slide looks with a special template. It's just taking whatever template you pick for that show. That's what's going to show. But I can change that default to say, hey, I want it to be different. When I'm showing songs, I want the songs to show up. I'm going to pick one I like. Let's see. This is a presentation one. Let's do, I got a bunch of lower third stuff. I'm going to go to just some traditional regular song stuff. I think I got some regular song stuff. Here we go. We'll do Trendy Gary. I want the default to be Trendy Gary for my default style. The reason the default style is important is because for my output, my primary output, the style is set to use default. So I go back to my show now and I select, look at what's going on. It looks totally different now. I select, it automatically shows that Trendy Gary look, right? Now Trendy Gary is designed to have a background to it. These don't have a background, so it just looks all black. Let me show you what it looks like if I add a background to it. From my media tab, I'll do a grunge backdrop. We'll do green. Let me just drag that on my first slide. And now you'll see what it looks like. It's got all black with white text, and then I got the green background. This particular show, though, has a different template set for it, right? So this show, it defaults right now to the Trendy Gary template because it's being overridden by that. I can hover over this. You'll see it says override slide with template Trendy Gary. You'll see that little icon there. That represents a template change. But there's other things you can do in the template section. So we know that whatever template you make your show in, it will be overwritten by your style template, okay? But the next question is, does the category template override the style template? So let's see. In here, under songs, I can right click and I can add a category action or a category template. I'm going to pick a category template real quick, and we're going to make it be something different than Trendy Gary. We'll just make it be big bold. All right. So now anything that's in here, like Good Good Father's a song that comes out of that category, is going to be big and bold. So I go here, and you notice everything is still showing Trendy Gary. If I go there, I got the whole category set to be big and bold. Let's look and see what that means if I were to have another output. So I'll go to settings and I'll turn on another output. So let's do the Terry output. So Terry's output is set to default as well, but I'm gonna change it from default to I got this loop output. All right, so my loop output is designed. Let's look and see what it looks like. No overrides are on the loop output, so it's good. All right, so we'll go here. I'll go back to that output. This is Mr. Terry Ray. I'll turn it on and notice what it looks like. It looks big and bold because it is coming from this songs category that has a template for it. And so the way it works is the template for your show is at the bottom of the pool, right? It's at the bottom of the food chain. The template for your category is right above that. So it'll supersede, it'll override whatever your category is for your show. Your category template will override that and change it. Like we see here. That's here. But your style category overrides all of those. It'll override your show, and it'll also override your template for your category or category template, and it'll supersede and it'll say, hey, this is what's going to show up no matter what you set for all those other templates. This output is going to show this way all the time, no matter what type of show you show. All right. And so that's the hierarchy that Claude was asking about. All right, let's see here. Terry says, Gary, do you have any tips for organized syncing media types in the Free Show media folder? Organizing synced media. Sorry. Okay, so organizing synced media types. Synced media in the Free Show media folder. So when we talk about syncing media, that's a good question. Syncing media is not something that's a manual process in Free Show. So in the chat, let me know, have you used the Cloud Sync feature? And we're talking about in the settings up here, there's an option that says files, and we got this Cloud Sync setup. Okay, so I can actually connect to Church Apps, which is the mother company, I guess you could say, of Free Show. And what Church Apps allows you to do is to make a backup of everything in terms of your settings and things like that, and your shows and all that stuff into the cloud. But it will not make a backup of your images. It won't make a backup of your videos. You have to do that on your own. In terms of, you have to make a folder that's going to be on the internet. So you got to make a Google Drive folder or a Dropbox folder or some folder that you have on your computer. Okay, when I say on your computer, I literally mean on your computer. Like for example, here I've got my, let's see here. I used to have a Google Drive. I don't think I have it in here anymore. But I used to have a Google Drive folder here. I think I deleted my Google Drive for on desktop. So you can download Google Drive for desktop, and it'll show up here on your in a Mac. It'll show up in your on the left panel on the Finder. It'll be just like any other folder. That's what Free Show needs. It needs a folder to point to, but the folder needs to be an online folder. It can't just be a generic folder on your computer. It has to be a folder that's an online based folder. Just like our Church Apps is online, it needs another online folder for your media to store. Once you dictate what that folder is in this, and I don't have mine activated. Like I said, I don't even know my password to my Church Apps. Let me see. I'll try. Like I'm going to try. Let's try Gary.bikes. Yeah, I don't know my password, you guys. Yeah. So I haven't said I've deleted. So I made a tutorial about how to do that, but I've since then deleted that account, I think, just to reset it. But when you set up your Church Apps, it'll show you that you're connected to a team here, and it'll show that it's active with an on button. And then below there's going to say an option. You get the little arrow to drop down, and you'll be able to select an option that says Media Sync Folder. That Media Sync folder, as I said before, needs to be on your desktop. for any computer that uses FreeShow. So you need to download the Google Drive for desktop on all the computers you want to be able to sync with. And they need to have access to that same Google Drive folder. Now you can share it to that account. Maybe they got a different Gmail or Google account on the other computer. As long as they can access that folder on their desktop, you can point to it and FreeShow will do the rest of the work from there. You don't have to manually drop any files in there. You don't have to do anything special. FreeShow will drop them in there for you as it determines what's needed. All right. So for example, what FreeShow will do is it'll take this show with all these lyrics and it'll make it be automatically synced up with the lyrics. But it will not take that grunge green backdrop with it unless you have that Google Drive or that Dropbox or SharePoint or OneDrive folder to store this green backdrop. Okay. But it's going to take the text. It's going to save that text. It's going to show it to you on the other computer with or without a media sync folder. But once you add that media sync folder, it'll bring over the green background. It'll bring over that blue background as well. Okay. So keep that in mind when you do that. All right. Let's see here. So Chris says there are a limited number of templates for songs. Is there somewhere to download more? I know you create more, but I'd like to just download already made and add them. Yeah, so there's no place to download, like no default place to download more. I know I have some on my website that you can check out. I have not updated those in a while, but I'm working on a lot of stuff, you guys. I got some stage layouts that I'm working on. I've got some actions I'm working on. I've got some templates that I'm working on, and a new layout for some video tutorials that I'm working on. And they're going to all kind of come out together is the idea. As I make a new video, you'll see some new resources. I just haven't had time to make the new videos yet. So I've been making new resources. So we're working on it. It's a grand plan. But you can go to GaryBJr.com and see if there's something in there that you like. There might be others in the community. I know there's a FreeShow Facebook community. They may have some just at their church. They might be able to send them to you because it's easy to send those files. I have some available for free on my website, but you also can have some that are available for you to purchase. And so that's more of my consulting business in a sense, right? So you can actually get access to those and pay for some of them or get some for free. A lot of folks like some of I got one that's like I don't even know what it's called, like a tear paper. I don't know what it's called. Let me see here. If I go to GaryBJr.com and you go to products, you'll see that there are FreeShow templates, presentation backgrounds. That's something that I think a lot of folks like as well. And then beginning with FreeShow. But if we go to these templates, let's see what we got. So we got a lower thirds, texture lower thirds pack that came out recently. We got the organic media. This one is something that people like as well. It's 10 custom templates and 8 custom graphics for overlays and backdrops. This one is the transparent upper and lower thirds that you can get. This one's completely free. And then these are camera and text templates for just $1.99. And then this one is a toolkit for scripture lower third. Okay, for 2 scriptures. This is the basic toolkit for basic lower third templates. Okay, I think this one includes for songs and scripture. Let me see. This free template pack includes a basic lower thirds design for scripture and songs. So you can use that one as well. And yeah, so that's what I've got so far, but there'll be updates coming to that as well. All right. Is this website on your profile? You know, I may or may not be smart enough to do that. Let's see. I think so, though. Pretty sure. Be nice. Let's see here. Let's go to Gary B. Jr. Let's see. All right, so if I select my logo here, this takes me to my website. And if I go to more, there's the beginner's guide, the blueprint, the confidence. Yeah, so you can go to my website from my profile. Just go to that link. It's a bit link there. But this is also, remember I told you guys about those media systems. You can access those here as well. Okay. And then if you want a consultation or something like that, you can do that as well. And then this is my blog and another channel, another YouTube channel that I started. I haven't done much updates on that channel, but there's a few videos on there as well. Great question, Chris. Oh, he said, I just said the website, so it's all good. Yeah, yeah, it's really simple. Try to keep it consistent. So my YouTube channel, Gary B. Jr. is already taken, so I had to name it The Gary B. Jr., but my website is just GaryBJr.com. All right. Let's see here. We had, I think, one more question. I thought Claude asked 2 questions. What's relevant? Okay. Let's see here. James Raymer, J3L says, "Hey Gary, in version 164 version, 16 in the V164 version, when editing a song in text edit settings, is it possible to print the song lyrics lyrics that page from that page, I'm guessing, on a printer? It says paste. Where is it pasting to?" It says, I don't know. I said, I don't know about the printing from that page, but you can definitely export any song from the file menu. And I did that twice. That doesn't need to be there twice. Let's delete one of those. I think I was at the airport when I was typing that answer, so it just duplicated. And I thought Claude had 2 questions, but maybe I overlooked one. I need to refresh this. Let me see. Yep, Claude had 2 questions. All right, so I'll go back to Claude's second question in a minute here. And so I don't know about the printing. So let's go into free show here. We wanted to print this out. What he's talking about is he was looking at the text edit page here, and we've got all this there. And he was saying let's see what this is. So you can transpose up and down because it does have chords with it. That is so crazy to me that those chords are there and they're just in brackets. That's crazy. Super cool, but crazy because the verses and all that stuff are in brackets as well, but it automatically knows what they're supposed to be, which is cool too. All right. All that to say, how to print this out. So I think I can do Command A and copy that and paste it somewhere. But what I would say is to potentially go to File and Export. And let's just say select a show. You can export it as images, as a PDF, as text, a show, or project. I would export it as text and then just say export. It'll work on that. And then it sends me to my export page here. This is what popped up. So if I select that and hit the space bar, you'll see that whole song ready to be printed out. And this is just in my text editor view or preview or whatnot. So all the songs are there. The song is there with the breakdown of the groups. It does not include the chords because I don't think I have the chords visible, which raises another question. So let's see here. If I go back into that show, go here. And we look at this. Does it, if I say slide and I say show the chords, so this category, okay, this show is in a category that has a template set, which will override any changes you make. All right, so I got the chords showing up here, but I think it was Good Father. So let me see, that was a different one. So let's go to, oh, this is it. Yeah, this is Good Father. And that was, okay. So I turned on those here and I export the text as well. Let me see what happens. If I export the text, select this show, text, will it export those chords? Let's see. So it's exported version 1 here. I see that there, but I don't see the chords anywhere else. So it won't bring those chords out. It just has them on the intro and outro because that's all the text that was on that slide. Okay. But that would be my recommendation to print if you're going to try to print your shows, right? So that's my recommendation. Now, the other thing is if you're trying to share a show, one of the cool things you can do is, and I'll tell this gentleman, James, answered on Free Show Friday, 7/31, 26 at about the 2 hour and I'll say 18-minute mark. Oh, all right. But the cool thing about this, without even having to print this out, you can share this with your team. If you go to show and you hit the 3 dots next to your show, you can say copy data URL. When I copy that, and so there's more options there. You can toggle the timeline and you can lock certain sections, or sections, I should say. But I copy that data URL. So now if I go into here and I paste that in, check out what happens. It gives you a link that you can send in an email or a text message to anybody on your worship team, and I can see the songs. So I can select these songs. It says show content, so I can hit the drop down there. That's what I got to do. I'm like, you can't select them, but it can show the contents, and it shows some. It got some little backgrounds and stuff like that on those images that I imported. Doesn't show the video. Remember, this was my test with the video cropping and all that stuff. Shows there's something there, but it doesn't show what it is. Okay, but the lyrics are all there, so you can just share this with your team if you wanted to, and so you'll see Good Father. We'll see that sermon, Joshua chapter 1, verse 9 in there as well. And then Christopher says, if you choose the PDF export option, there is a chords mode. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. So let's go back in. What he was saying is I can export here. I can say selected show and PDF. And now you can select what's going to show up. So I got metadata, page numbers, group, numbered notes, inverted slides, original text. That's the default. If I say plain text, you'll see it has the notes, the groups. Let's see here. Page numbers. Let's do, chord sheet. Whoa. I've never seen a chord sheet before, but that is super sweet. It looks super cool. I don't know why that's so cool to me, but you can dictate. That is crazy. Okay. So, all right. So the chord sheet, you can set the margins for it. The font size, obviously. So I turn that up to be bigger. It's changing the font size of the text. Okay. You can change the line spacing to give you more room, and it just runs it off the page there. And I can go to each page, I guess. Yep. 1, 2, 3. And these are all, I guess, just different slides. Is that right? And then you can select the columns. I can make it be 3 columns or 1 column. And these breakouts will just represent each page because I got 2 lines per slide. Interesting. And then you can change the size of the chords font. There's that. Wow. Never done that before. And that's under the PDF export. And you just select chord sheet. We got the media option as well. We can export the media. You'll see that. But we can also do the slides themselves. And you can see that. Let's see here. Groups, numbers, all that good stuff. But that chord sheet, that's a game changer. It defaults to showing, at least mine's defaulted to showing 2 columns. You can just scroll through and see the whole thing. And it shows you the key. This goes back to what Chris was saying. I got the key in there. Don't have a clue what that means, but it's a key. And it's in there as well. And then, like I said, you can adjust all that. And you can export it. So if I were to export that, it should show up in my exports. And there's the Good Father. Oh, not that one. This one is the Good Father PDF. And it's printed out over 3 pages. In terms of, you can see the preview of each page here. That is super cool. It shows you the title, the author, because I had that in my metadata, and then the key. That is crazy. There's a lot of possibilities with this, you guys, when it comes to the functionality of FreeShow and how you can use this in regular production. Like I said, you can see here, these are the notes from this one. I can't remember. Does this automatically update? I think it recreates a new one. I'm going to see what happens if I add another show inside of here real quick and see if I can update that. So I'm going to say, use me, Lord. I'm going to put that right above the multi-items. And I'm going to go back to here. Let me see if it'll refresh. And we'll use me, Lord comes up. Show contents. Nope. So you have to do a whole new, let me make sure to save it just to make sure. We'll go back here. Let me refresh. And it didn't move it in there. So I will go back into here. When you make any changes here, you can copy the data URL. And I can go in here and paste that in on top of that. And now you'll see the contents has use me, Lord, there at the top. So if you do make changes with that URL, after you've already sent it out, you do need to send a new updated URL. Okay. And this one had 2 languages built into it. You'll see both of those languages on each slide, which is really cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Super cool. Claude says, wow, I love it. Yeah, now Claude is a music man too. Now, if you guys don't know, Claude is the what's the word? What would you say, Claude? Were you the composer maybe of that song for Free Show Friday? Right? He composed those. He used AI to make it, but he made that from his love for the community, which I love. So if you guys hear that song, make sure to think about Claude and give him a big high five if you like it. I like this song a lot, so I add it in there every time we do Free Show Friday. But let's talk about Claude had a second question. Let me go back to it here. And I think we answered this one about printing the songs. Okay. Producer. All right, there we go. He was the producer of that. I love that. It's a term to use when using AI. Got you. All right. So let's talk about his second question here. He says, hey, second question. We have two different main outputs for a song. An NDI, lower third, limited to 2 lines of text. Okay. So NDI, lower third, got it. 2 lines, makes sense for lower thirds. And then number 2 output is HDMI output on the main screen showing 4 lines of text. When I create a stage output, okay, it creates that stage layout, I'm gonna call it, or stage output. How does it know which output? Oh, I think he answered that part. So he already got the answer for that. So he figured it out. He says, how do I know which output format to follow? How does the stage know which output format to follow? Because his outputs for his live stream versus his in-house are different. One showing 2 lines, one showing 3. And he found out there's an option in there that's called source output. And so let's go back to here real quick and let's look at that. So if I go to my stage layout, all of my stage layouts have a default, but you can go here and you can say, hey, I want to change the source output to be any of your outputs that you've got selected. Okay. This is going to, I think, feed into a second question, but you'll see that there. All right. So you can change that and it'll automatically update. If your outputs are different, that's going to make a major difference. Let me go back to his questions. So the second part of this question says, if I want a stage display in portrait mode, showing the entire section slide group with chords. So showing the entire section slide group with chords, basically the entire course, for example, would I need to create a main output in order to use it in my stage output, even if I never want to show the main output somewhere? So my question, Claude, with that is, where do you want to use this portrait mode? There's some comments here. Let's see here. Mark says, I'm using 165 and when exporting PDF, I do not have a chords mode. Anything special that I would need to activate? Christopher says, you need to have chords in the show for it to show up. Yep. So going back to what I showed earlier, you guys, the only reason that chords sheet was available is because I do have chords in this song. And so I guess I'll go back to the edit page. This is a good father. Okay, yeah. So if I go to the chord section here, you'll see all the different chords that are part of it. I imported those. I did not make those. They were just imported with that guitar, Ultimate Guitar import. And so that's how those are there. Okay. If they're there, then you can export them out, is what Christopher is saying, I think. Okay. Okay, so Claude says it would be my main stage output to be able to play the song. Okay, so it would be my main stage output. So your main stage output is going to be in portrait mode. Is that right, Claude? Is a TV this vertical? Like my songbook, live sync with Free Show. Now, Claude, you know, I don't know nothing about music. I don't know what's a songbook. Don't tell me that. I'm just teasing. That sounds super serious. A songbook? Okay. All right. So your main stage is a vertical. Your output on your in house is vertical. Is what I think I'm hearing you say. And confirm that for me. But if that's the case, you would need to go to your settings, and you would need to make an output. Okay. For that output to be vertical, you would have to have that set up, right? So what I'm talking about here is I'm gonna just delete some of these. So I got a TV, I got Terry out. We'll remove Terry out for now. Don't need that one. I don't think I need this NDI one either. I do a lot of demos and things like that. All right, so I'm gonna say stage, and it says, okay, which one of these do you want to have? And he had a super serious stage that has like the whole chorus or something like that, which I got to figure out how to make that. I'll make it be the work window because I don't think anything is in there. And now it's going to a real physical screen. So I'll say here, but I'll say NDI as well, just to make sure we can play with it as well later on. So if you guys do want to have the option to have NDI on one of your outputs, you want to make sure to select both. Okay. So I'll say confirm. And now I've got this output, but I need to change the resolution of it, right? So it's going to be 1080 here and 1920 here. And this is important because if I turn that on, let me see what it does. Will it change on my stage layout? It won't change here. So let's go here and let's see if we can add some text in there. Because this is not doing anything. This is my slide text offset. It should be showing something, but let's go to another slide to see. So this one, let's see what the output source is. So my output source is set to default. Let's change that to be primary. So we can have some text there. And this one, it changes that as well. But if he said he wants that to be vertical, Chris says, so here's the newbie coming out. What is NDI? Great question, Chris. NDI is a way to wirelessly send your outputs to, in my case, different programs is what I would recommend because that's what I do right now. So for me to show you guys my FreeShow screen, for example, I can say FreeShow and you guys can see that. That's literally showing in OBS from FreeShow on the same computer. So it's going from one program to another program, and it's using basically this virtual wire. So NDI can act like a virtual cable. It's like a virtual HDMI cable that allows you to do send signal from one device on the network to another device, or from one program on the network to another program on the same network. And networking just means like your Wi-Fi network or your, hardwired network, same router in a sense, right? And so what I like to use NDI for is to live stream to you guys, so you guys can see it as a part of my OBS program. So OBS is basically my live stream program of choice, just because it's free for one, just like FreeShow is. It's robust. I talked to somebody this week and they were like, OBS is a little clunky for me, and they prefer to use Ecamm or there's a lot of them out there. I don't use any of them except OBS right now. OBS has the option for you to input or allow to receive an NDI signal from another program. So I'll actually receive my signal in OBS from FreeShow because I turn on NDI. That's what that is. All right. So I got this here. I got it set to include media, but I don't necessarily need that on. And so, Claude, you might need to help me out. How'd you get your vertical look on your display is the question I'm asking. I don't have a vertical display right now, but I want to see what that looks like. So I would move these here, and I wonder, does it automatically adjust? Because in the settings, I set this output to be vertical. Let me see if I can make it go to this screen. Oh, is it because I turned on NDI? I think, oh wait, I'm in live stream. That's the issue. I'm like, where's the vertical settings? Let me turn this back to be 1920 by 1080, guys. Hold on. I changed the wrong setting. All right, so let's say here, and I think this one's called work window. So this one, I want to change the resolution for it. And so I would have to pick a layout. How do you do that? No, Claude, how'd you make your stuff vertical on there? And or Christopher, somebody help me out. I think the vertical would be a setup in the windows for the output, but I have not done it yet. Oh, okay, you haven't done it yet either. All right, let me see it. In here, I can go to settings and change output values. So I can go here to size. I'm gonna try it out. 1080 by 1920. I'm gonna test it out on the screen behind me. And we'll say, okay, there we go. So that's what I was looking for. So now I got a vertical screen there. So I don't have to do anything here. I just want to make sure it's gonna do what I expected, which is great. So when I go to my stage layouts, That's the only output I have active. So they all default and change to that. So you would actually change it here, right? So you can adjust where they are in positioning and all that kind of stuff. This one, I'll pull it down just a bit. It's auto sizing. I got it set to grow to fit, which is fine. But I can see my entire screen here. And then you said you wanted to make it show something. You said you want to show like a whole. Okay, if I want to stage display in portrait mode showing the entire section. So you want to see a whole section slide group with chords. So the entire chorus. All right. Let's see. This is going to be fun. I've never tried that before. So if I hit the little plus sign here, let's go to dynamic values. So I got project section, and that's just the name. All right, let's see, project group. Group just shows the name or the title. I don't know if there's a such thing as the content of a group. So let's go back. I'm gonna go back to a regular text box and let's see if we can just right click in there and add a dynamic value. And let's turn on everything. All right, so show. Okay, that's text full. Ooh. Yeah, Claude, I don't know how to do that. And Christopher, feel free to help me out if you know how to make it show like the whole chorus in one text box is what I think is the question. So I see the option up here for the show, right? So I see that I can say verse 1, verse 2, whatever. This is the upcoming title. I got slide notes and all that stuff, but I don't see an option that shows, like I can see the whole text. It says show text full. And that's just the text for this particular slide though. So I can select that. So let's see what that is. I'm gonna delete this out and delete this out. Maybe it is. You know, that's the whole song. I'm making it bigger and bigger. So it's the whole song. If I go to the text box and I say shrink to fit, it brings the whole song in. So it's not a certain part of the song. And I'll say grow to fit. It's going to be the same size, but that's the preview of it over there. To show a certain part of the song, though, that's the kicker. I don't know how to do a certain part, like a certain, the dynamic values would be the closest thing I could think of that are kind of pre-built, but they don't show the whole verse. They just show you the group name. And so there might be a default when it says like slide group and then underscore like content, maybe. I don't know what that would be. And that's something Christopher might be able to help us with if he's still on. K Vaspo, let us know. Let me know. I'm curious now. I know you can do all the whole slide group. Not slide group, sorry. That's the slide group upcoming, but the slide notes. Sorry, the slide notes are there by default. They just show all the slide notes in terms of what you typed in. But I don't know how to do just a certain part. This is this section, so you can do project section. I can add in that and it'll just show up at the top. So this just says worship. I can add in one that says like probably show title or something like that. Let me see. Okay, so K Vaspo says, I think just keep the whole group in one text box for the stage and use style to split in the output. But so let me make sure I'm on the same page with you, K Vaspo. So if I want a stage display in portrait mode showing the entire section, basically summarize that by saying the entire chorus. Right, so just showing the chorus. Would I need to create a main output in order to use it for my stage output, even if I never want to show the main output somewhere? So the answer to the second part is yes, you do need to make an output. Okay. You say you may never show it, but I think you were saying that it's going to be there. You got to show it somewhere. So yeah, you definitely need to make an output, a stage output. And if you're going to put it on a physical stage screen, you need to make it be an HDMI or local output. And if you want to show it on NDI, You can make it be an NDI output as well, or you can just make it be that and then share it through the connections menu. But what K Vasbo is saying is keep the whole group in one text box. And I'm guessing that does not mean the show full. So keep the whole group in one text box. So I can right click on this and go back to dynamic values. Oh. So I think you're talking about the way you actually edit the actual song. So from what I understand, from what Christopher's saying is let's go back here to the state, to the edit page. Let's do text edit. So this whole thing, the verse, you would just go here and here. I'm just breaking out those to be all on the same slide like that. So that's all together. And then I'll put this here all together. And I got this here all together. Like so. I'll just do these first few just so we get ideas. It's a bunch of them. So I'll just do these first few. And now if I go to stage and we do a slide, so I can go to here and we'll do slide text because all in one slide now. It's there and it should default, there you go, to be as big as it needs to be. And we'll keep that there. And then I'll do another one for next slide text. And that's going to show up here. And it'll default to auto size as well. And you can make that be as pretty as you want to. And up here, we don't need this one. I'll make this one be that title that we saw. So I can say, I'll make this be the dynamic value of slide group. Boom. So that's going to show up there. So it says course 1 at the top. I'll bring it down a little bit closer. And I'll do another one for the next slide group. And slide group next. Highlight over dynamic values. You got slide group next. And that shows up on the side. But I want it to be right there in the middle. And we'll bring this down to here. And we'll just stretch it out to there. So that's verse 2. Then we can make these be different colors if you really want them to be seen, which is usually really helpful to be seen. So I'll make that be yellow, and I'll make this one be yellow as well. And so to look like that, course 1, verse 2, as what's coming up, what's now, what's coming up next. You can make it a lot prettier than that, make them bigger if you wanted to. Like I said, I would maximize that space for sure. So I'll pull this all the way up. And then I would pull this up even more. Making it wider won't really change much, I don't think, but let's see. Because it's short lines, but I'll make it as wide as I can get it. But it's really going to be depending on that height, right? So we got that there. And the same way for this one, I'll make it be wider and wider here. And so you can see that there. Yep, I could work with that. So hopefully that answers your question. Claude, you on live with me, but I'll still reply for others that may see this question later. And I'll say answered on FreeShow Friday. 7:31:26 at about it's the 2 hour. We've been on live for 2 hours and 40 minutes. What in the world? No. From 11 to 12, 12 to 1. Oh, crud. Let me see here. That's not even right, you guys. Let me see what the time is. Let me see what my duration. Stream settings. I've been telling people the wrong time because I've been looking at OBS. I've been streaming on OBS for that long, but I've not been live for that long. Oh, man. Let's see. Does it show me anything? It shows 2:10 up there. So I'm about 33 minutes off, 32 minutes off. So 2 hours and 11 minutes. I got to change that. So yeah, it's about 33 minutes off. I got to change those other ones. So yeah, at about the 2 hour and I'll say 5 minute mark. I don't know when I start talking about it. For these, I got to shave off some minutes. Let's see. So this needs to be edited. While I'm thinking about it, sorry about this, you guys. Let me edit this. This is about the, from there to be what, 50. I take away 33 minutes from an hour 20, 47 minutes. Okay. And that's, okay, those are all older. That's 7 days. I did another one, I thought. Let me see. 2 replies. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's with Claude. I just updated that one. Okay, maybe. Oh, here's another one. Here we go. 2 hour to 18-minute mark. That really needs to be something different. Add it here. Let's take away that. It would be definitely 1 hour. And what's that? What's 33 from 18, you guys? Somebody help me out. It'd be 1 hour and 18. We would need to take away another, not 25, just another 15, right? So 45, somewhere around there. That should be safe. All right. Sorry about that. All right, we got some comments here. Grillin MJ says, "Hey Christopher, can we have actions on media folders?" Ooh, that's nasty, bro. How what? And on NDI inputs and stage layouts? Stage layouts, I can see that being pretty cool. You can add actions inside the stage, right? So you can go into this special option and do a press action. That only applies when you're using the connection from like a tablet or something, like from the connection screen. Let's see here. Okay. Mark Smith says, using an iPad, you would just rotate and then lock the display direction. I haven't tried to change a wired connection. Okay. K Vashwell says, "Go MJ, I'm sure you can already automate whatever you are trying to do." That is the truth. He says, "I want to activate an output based on a template." So I want to activate an output based on a template using an action, or send an NDI output on a specific output, unless there's another way to do that. So you said you want to activate. So Gordon MJ, break down what you're trying to do. I'm gonna look at this first part. I think that one makes sense, a little bit more sense. You said you want to activate, and I'm gonna let you guys go after this. I know we've been going at this for a little while. Let me see. We got a few folks still on with us. Thank you guys for joining. So you said you want to activate an output based on a template. Activate an output based on a template. If I go back to my main page here, let's see. So you want, whenever somebody uses a certain template, for it to go to a certain output. Am I understanding that right? Whenever they use a certain template, you want to go to a certain output. What's driving that is what my question would be. Because it sounds like you would probably just want to make a category template with a category action. And Chris is saying, so what I'm kind of hearing is that I can use my iPad as a separate output through like a wireless feed. Yeah, I thought you were already doing that, Chris, when you said, well, no, you said you were using you said you used the remote. So yes. So let's go back real quick. I'm gonna go to the settings and connection, and then we're gonna come back to Gwell and MJ's thought. So these stage shows here, I showed you guys that earlier, so I can go here, and it takes me to here. That's my speaker notes. I'm gonna go back. So I can go to any of these outputs here. Let's see which one I was working on. This one was called work window. Okay, so I can go to my work window stage and you'll see it shows up there. Now I don't have anything showing up apparently. Let me go here and refresh. Let's go to another slide. All right. So it should show some text there, but it is not. That's weird. So that stage is showing up here. Not sure why it's doing that. Because it should mirror whatever I see here. And not sure why it's not. Any thoughts on that from anybody else on the team? Let's see if I go back to, let's do worship stage. Let's see. These are all completely blank and they should be showing some text in there. Is it because it's not actively outputting? But I thought I didn't even have to do that. So if I go here, let's see. It shows the bridge, but it doesn't show the text. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go to my stage layouts. Let's check the source set to primary. That's fine, right? For controlling, but it can be a feed like for a stage view. Yep. Mark is answering, absolutely. And so you can do it that way for sure. You can put it on a tablet and just see it from there. And you can just have your computer and your tablet on the same output. So your iPad has to be on the same output, or not output, same network, same Wi-Fi network, in that case with your tablet, obviously. And you can just see it on your tablet, all your lyrics. So you wouldn't even need to bring a projector potentially. But unless you want people to see it. If you want everybody else to see it, you need to have the projector for them. And then you can have your stage layout that has the chords totally separate. For some reason, my stage layout is flaking out on my my link here, and it should show up. So you just tap on the screen, it'll show you a link for the home button, and you can see all of your stage layouts that you got. And I don't know what I did to mine. Let's see what's going on here. You can also set it to do text to speech, which is kind of crazy. Really cool. And it just shows a little audio icon down there for you to do that. But click on there and it lets you go back to the home page to see what you got. Now, why mine is not showing up? Somebody help me out. I'm missing something, but I don't know what I'm missing. Stage leader. I don't know what's going on with my text. Yeah, these are all just, oh, wait a minute. Primary, stage. Let's see what this is teaching. The stage leaders. Let's look at this one. Source output set to nothing basic, right? It's not set to anything. So it should just have the notes there. Chris said that's what I'm thinking. Projector with just lyrics for the audience and then the iPad with the stage view for the chords. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. That's what I recommend. But ultimately, you would just go to your settings, go to stage view, stage show, I'm sorry, and then activate it. It'll bring up your QR code. You scan that with your tablet and you'll have your stage layout that you want. So you would make your stage layout. Like I said, I'm wondering if I messed mine up by doing this vertical. But I don't know what I did to do that. So let's see if I switch it back. If I change this back in my settings to be change output values to be 1920 by 1080. Let's see what happens to my stage layouts. Those all bounce back just fine. My work window probably looks crazy. No, it came back. It kind of converted itself and made it stretch and fit. Perfect deal there. Let's go back here and let's go to another one. Or let's do refresh. Let me see what that does. Still nothing. Worship stage. So if I go here to worship stage, it looks like this. So I'd expect it to show that. Basically, that's what I'm expecting. It should show all that. Not sure why it's not though. He said technology is great. Yeah, I agree. It is super cool. Let me check and make sure I got this set up right. So it should be showing in the primary. That won't change anything. I can close it out. It shouldn't change anything. Yeah, I broke mine, but you guys should be just fine. I'm not sure what's going on with that. If I go to the next slide, maybe. Let me see. Maybe I just need to go to another slide. Verse 3. No. Shows verse 3, but it's not showing my text in there for some reason. But it'll show up there for you with your timers and everything. It's really sweet, really cool. All right. Gwell and MJ, did you ever give me some feedback? What you thinking about with that, man? You want to activate your output. You want to activate an output based on a template. Activate an output. Yeah, I think you would do better off with. So if we go to functions, you want to make an you want to activate an output based on a template. I would make a new action. Let's say, I'm gonna call this is it GUE? Yep. MJ action. And I go here. You'll see all the different options. But they're not all there because I hit the eyeball for more options, but you'll see I'm looking at outputs. So we basically say we want to change the output. So I'm going to go down and look for outputs now. And so we got the option to toggle the lock to output, toggle output windows, toggle output window, change output style, change output layout, change connections layout. That's pretty cool. Start streaming, stop streaming, start streaming, stop streaming for WebRTC or RTMP. Crazy. So yeah, so you can do, you might just need to change the style. That's what I would say you want to do. Is just change your style, Gwelin, to where your style is going to dictate what the template is. You wouldn't necessarily need to change your output at all. That's a thought. But let's do this for another day, just because it's getting late. Thank you guys for jumping on and joining. Hopefully this was a blessing. We got Chris joining us all the way from Guatemala. Welcome, my friend, again. Thanks for jumping in and asking questions. This is what the community is about. We're here to help answer questions and get some insight, get understanding, and grow together. So as you guys continue to grow, make sure to ask any questions in the YouTube videos that you see. If you see any from me, I'll be happy to answer. We'll be going live on Monday. I believe the topic is going to be simplify your live stream. And that's going to be in the lab at 6:30 in the morning. How do I find the QR code for the NDI connection? No QR code for the NDI connection. That's a part of your output, right? So the QR code for what you're talking about is going to be under the connections menu though. So if you go to settings, you won't need NDI for that for your tablet. Just go to connection and turn on the stage show. That's what you need to do. Turn on the stage show. Thank you guys. I see Terry saying thanks. That's BU Media. Welcome, my friend. I didn't hear from you on here, man. What's going on? We got Atisa John Mark saying thanks so much. Sabusi Souls joined us. He was in there. All right. Mark in, Terry in. Thank you guys for sure. But yeah, so for Chris, connection is where you're going to see the QR code pop up. And it's not going to be an NDI connection. It's really just a web-based connection. It's going to be on your browser. So it's going to show up on your Google Chrome or your Safari or anything like that. Stage show. Do your stage show. Instead of output show, do stage show. The output show is going to send out to, it's going to show whatever your audience sees on your screen, right? So you can make that be on your tablet if you wanted to, but it's just going to show whatever's the output screen here. Now, I will say, be mindful of these. Only use the ones you need because they do, not bog down, but they put a load on your processor, okay? So make sure to decheck or uncheck the ones you don't use. Like I don't use the remote show very much. I'm not using the stage show right now, so I'll turn that off. But that will save your processor or your RAM. I'm not sure which one it is. I think the RAM. Yeah, the RAM I think is what's used the most in that from what I've seen from other meetings and discussions I've had with other people. But yeah, if you're not using them, turn them off. They default to these first two being on, but the output show is basically just a mirror image of whatever's showing up for your audience display. Okay, or your primary display that you got active here. All right, you guys, have a great rest of the day. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great, but my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that, and that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about, and to share this video with someone just like you, someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.